Wondering is the most important aspect of anyone who has a conscious mind. If you cannot wonder, you simply cannot live. Like, think about it. If man did not wonder, there would be no pyramids. If man did not wonder, there would be no food. If man did not wonder, you would not be able to listen to me right now. And so on and so forth. Wondering is the best thing a human can do. Never stop wondering. And as a child, we get that ripped away from us by any means necessary. If you grew up wanting to touch things or wanting to, figure out what things did, you were yelled at, told to sit down, forced into a classroom where you could only sit, no standing, no anything. If you stood, you get kicked out. If you went against the teacher or the person feeding you lies, you would get kicked out. It's just all a trap. It's all a trap to keep you from wondering. If they can hinder you from wondering at such a young age, then they can stop you from wondering when you're an adult, when you've been through things, when you've seen more and experienced 10 times more than you could as a child. I personally believe a child's mind is 100 trillion times more imaginative than any adult's mind combined. One single child is a billion times more imaginative than every single adult put together. And that is the sole fact that their ability to fully wonder has not been completely ripped away from them yet. But throughout the years, it will be. Neil deGrasse Tyson likes to think as kids as little scientists. And that was the most perfect description I've ever heard of in my entire life.
Yeah, because kids are born scientists. They're always turning over rocks and plucking petals off of flowers. They're always doing things that by and large are destructive. And no, that's what exploration kind of is. If you take stuff apart, whether or not you know how to put it back together. This is what kids do. An adult scientist is a kid who never grew up. That's what an adult scientist does. So what happens at home is the kid reaches in the refrigerator, pulls out an egg, and starts juggling it. What's the first thing you do as a parent? Stop playing with the egg. It could break. Put it back. Excuse me, this is an experiment in the material strength of... Let the kid find out that when it drops, it breaks. This is a physics experiment. Rapidly turned into a biology experiment, okay? The yolk oozes out. You say, hey, that becomes a chickie one day, okay? Wait, how does this gooey oak become a chicken? Well, that's biology. Check that out. And what did the egg cost you? 20 cents? President of Harvard once said, if you think education is expensive, you should try the cost of ignorance. So we don't have enough parents who understand or know how to value the inquisitive nature of their own kids because they want to keep order in their household. Kids go into the kitchen and pull out all the pots and pans and start banging on them. What's the first thing you say as a parent? Stop making all that noise. Stop the racket. You're getting the pots and pans dirty. You just squashed an entire experiment in acoustics. So, I'm not worried about kids. People say, what can I do to get my kids interested in science? They're already interested in science. You're the one who's the problem. So, almost my entire professional energy is focused on adults because they outnumber kids. They vote. They run the world. They wield opportunities. Kids will be fine.
We are little scientists. If we see a worm, most of us will step on it. Most of us will walk away. Or most of us will just stare at it. But the fact that we even noticed the worm and thought about what to do to it as a child, thought about multiple things of what to do to it as a child, most of us, or a good percent, will act on impulse, and another percent will just think about what to do to it, and then come to a conclusion, and then do that thing. Two different scientists, impulsive and non-impulsive. There's obviously multiple scientists, but we're just going to stem it down to two basic terms real quick. Either or isn't good and isn't bad. They're just two different types of kids who are either going to do the first thing that happens in their mind and get the result, and then have it stored there for later, so then they know exactly what they did, what the outcome could be for that specific thing, and what it might do to something else. Now, say if they stepped on the ant, or not ant, if they stepped on the worm and then the body went squishy, they know if they step on something, it will most likely explode. A couple days later, they might see a hamburger on the floor. Their impulsive mind might tell them to go step on it. What will they do? Most likely step on it. They'll see it explode and go everywhere, but this time it'll be bigger. Like the explosion, not necessarily explosion, but all the pieces will be bigger and it'll be like more stuck to their shoe. And they'll start wondering, why did this happen, but last time that didn't happen? And then in conclusion, they'll be confused. And then trial after trial, they'll start squishing more things, and then realizing this one is a different size than the other one. Or they probably won't even know the word size yet. So they'll ask their parents. And their parents, more often than not, will ultimately tell them, stop stepping on things. Don't do that. That's not okay. Instead of educating them on why they shouldn't, or why, if they're going to do that, they should do it in a place where it's acceptable to step on things. That is ultimately altering their wondering state. And then throughout the years, multiple occasions of that will happen. And then, you can basically flip the same thing for the non-impulsive side. Relatively, the same thing's going to happen if their parents are like that. They'll do studies, or quote-unquote studies. They're basically studies, just in a children format. They'll think to themselves, if I step on it, maybe it might go squish. Now, the impulsive and non-impulsive, I wouldn't say one is more brighter than the other. They're just two different type of kids. One is impulsive and one isn't. The non-impulsive might think, what if I use a rock instead of my own foot? Or it might think of cutting it. There's many possibilities. And the impulsive guy or child might not even want to step on it. They might just want to pick it up. And that hinders them to pick up other things because they realize the worm feels different. So they're like, what about this green stuff that's like stuck to the ground? They'll pick it up. They might get yelled at. Don't pick up the grass. You'll ruin the dirt. Stop that. Put it back. How about an alternative? Don't pick up the grass because we like to have it look nice. I'm going to show you how to put it back neatly. And if you want to pick up more grass, tell me and I'll take you to a place where we can experiment on grass and what it looks like and feels. Could curve any response to your child into a learning state without being harsh. Sometimes you might have to be harsh because, as beings, we realize when someone is harsh, they mean business. But even while being harsh, you can't try to stop their wondering. Making someone not want to wonder is like making them not want to live. You don't notice it. You don't notice it at all. But slowly over time, it all trickles down into one cup. They'll drink that juice at a certain age when it's fully up there. I like to call it the non-wondering juice. They'll fully drink it after one last attempt at someone destroying their wondering state. They'll just say, fuck it. They'll drink it. Boom. Shuts off.